Welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's Next Superstock, a live stream for February 25th. We're back with Victory Square Technologies. Actually, we have three exciting companies for you today, so it's going to be an action-packed day. Again, for anybody that's just tuning in right now, our goal is to bring you those stocks with 10x to 100x upside potential. So companies going after multi-billion-dollar market opportunities at a key inflection point and multiple catalysts to unleash that shareholder value. So again, our goal is to bring you the companies, get the CEOs in front of you, and then you ask your questions in the live chat to the CEOs, and then decide for yourself if Victory Square and our other companies are going to be that next 10-bagger or 100-bagger super stock like we've seen. Or I should say, we haven't seen the 100-bag, we've seen the 50 so far. So maybe Victory Square could be the... We're gonna find out. So, guys, welcome back.
Thanks for having us.
Let me get your So let me just pull this up. So we have we got the titles up there. So great news today. This is actually I think a real milestone is you're announcing you're going to be doing this dividend dividend kind of spin out of Game On. Yes.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. I think in an earlier show we had mentioned one of the values to VST shareholders is that when one of our portfolio companies matures and is commercializing, we would spin it out. And we had an overwhelming response from shareholders that they would like a share dividend to be able to take some sort of ownership in those companies. And Game On, which is the latest one on deck. And so we decided to make it official. We'll be doing a share dividend in Game On. So VST will be taking a percentage of its ownership and dividending it out to VST shareholders. And this is going to be a pattern. We expect to continue to do this with what's next after Game On and on and on. And as you've referred to us as a unicorn farm. There's a lot of other companies in the nest that are ready to
after. Baby unicorn eggs hatching. Incubating, is it incubating or whatever when the unicorn sits on them to like grow, to hatch?
Yeah,
So what's okay? So this is actually, I think, very exciting because I think this type of pattern, this sort of like this model of share dividends, we've seen it happen before in the Nasdaq back. I actually really in the .com boom we talked about I think it was what's the company Safeguard. There was other like a couple of others, and it was a massively successful model. I'm surprised nobody's doing it right now. It's I think this is it's massive catalyst. So here's the question: have you decided how many shares? If I own 100 shares of VST, how many Game On shares am I getting?
So that is being determined as we stand. So right now we've got in VST what's called paid up capital, because the one thing we want to make sure is when we dividend the shares out that we're not passing on any sort of taxable liability. So that exact number and breakdown will be introduced to shareholders very, very soon. But we don't have an exact number yet, but it's coming.
Okay, so but essentially it's gonna be like some like dividend quality. So like I'm not gonna put words in your mouth, but it could be like a 5% dividend, 3, whatever that is, like a normal company.
Absolutely. And when we look at this from, let's say, an aggregate for the course of the year, we've got Game On, and then we have Immersive, which is going to follow on after. So we're looking at the dividend just not being a one-off, this being kind of a pattern. So if you look at it from an annual basis, it would reflect what a dividend would look like. And just to note, we initially kind of put it out that when we spin out an asset, VST wants to keep a big portion of that on our books, because again, we believe long term in those businesses. Also in the ability to liquidate some of that capital to reinvest in these other 10, 20, 30x opportunities that we see. But the third is we want to reward shareholders for their support and patience, onwards, and for them to have something to kind of look forward to. So this will be something that will be like real and legit.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great model. It does a couple things. One is it creates, in terms of from a market standpoint, it gives the new spin out, really great distribution, sort of that affinity group. So I don't know how many shareholders do you have now? Do you know, like on record, it could be, I don't know, 1,000, whatever the number is.
It's in the thousands. We don't have the exact number, but to your point, absolutely. I think building a diverse shareholder base, that was one of
for the spun out company. So in other words, they're launching not from scratch. They're basically launching with momentum.
Yeah, and again, it was something that was it started off with VST last year, diversifying our own shareholder base, building it up, and now as we spin off the assets, like you said, build momentum and a base of shareholders that are already aware of what they're doing. And to note, that's one of the reasons why, with Game On, we had so much interest from investment banks wanting to finance and do a brokered financing with Game On, but we decided to open it up to our VST shareholders first. So we created a shareholder president's list within VST shareholders to, our mantra is to democratize access, right? And so we had to put our money where our mouth was and open it up. And now Game On's got an amazing shareholder base and a lot of buzz, like you said, and a lot of momentum.
Yeah, no, this is. I think this is a real. It's a great model. I think it's going to be, it's going to unleash tremendous value. This is why you're on the next super stock platform, because I think this puts VST on the path to that 10 bagger, $10 plus stock. All right, so you got the Game On. Actually, for anybody that's new, first of all, give a snapshot of Victory Square, kind of the business model, some of the companies, and also the Game On. You want to talk about Game On I know we had Game On last, but just anybody that's new, just give us a snapshot of Game On. What can they expect and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so just a refresher on Victory Square. So we are a venture build studio. We were created in 2017. Our mission was to democratize access to the next best emerging tech companies from around the world, and give investors early access to the next generation of tech giants. There are 23 companies in the portfolio from all over the world in sectors like digital health, gaming, blockchain, AR, VR, cybersecurity, and cloud computing, and more. Think of VSC as a greatest hits album. Like, we've got the greatest hits in all these different verticals and sectors, trading in Europe, the US, and Canada. So that's kind of an overall, just a refresher on VST. You mentioned Game On. So Game On is one of those companies in the portfolio. Game On came out of Techstars, New York. So again, great accelerator. We were able to identify this company in New York. What they were doing is they're disrupting, the digital advertising and with a TV, static TV kind of space with a gamification platform. So they had a really strong team. Anyone that's been following the news over the last couple of weeks, an amazing board and great distribution on their products. And now recently, again, just announced a quick private placement pre-IPO financing for them, which was like the response was incredible. And they're scheduled to list in the next, I would say, 4 to 5 weeks. So yeah, super exciting. And then we have others on deck, after that.
Okay, so Game On is going to start trading the stock is going to start trading in about 4 to 5 weeks.
I think that's you might want to correct me, but I think it's scheduled for the next 4 to 5 weeks.
So yes, we're on track to be listed in 4 to 5 weeks. The prospectus has been filed. The preliminary prospectus has been filed. The audit has been done. Again, we're going through the normal course of back and forth with commissioner and the exchange for some of the clarification that they need to have. Everything else is set. As Shafin mentioned, the private placement, we got a great response. We're going to close that. So again, we're expecting to be listed in next 4 to 5 weeks based on what we've done so far.
Okay, and in terms of when is the dividend? When are you going to decide on the ratio, the dividend ratio, like how much people are getting? Like, is that going to be beforehand?
Yeah. That will be most likely around the time that it's listed. Okay. The main thing that we've been working around is this paid up utilizing our this paid up capital in VST, because it's one thing when you dividend out cash, someone can take that cash and pay whatever taxes are required. When you're issuing out share, we want to make sure that because we want our shareholders to be able to either decide whether they want to buy or sell or hold the portfolio company stock. What we don't want to do is pass on the stress of a tax liability. So I think that should be completed in the next 30 to 60 days, and then we'll be able to indicate that that exact number and amount. But yeah, it's right now it's utilizing the paid up capital in VST to be able to do that, and we would assume the tax liability for that.
Okay, so so essentially the tax thing has to be worked out, and then we're off to the races. Yeah, again, great. I love the model. How much are you going to be raising for for Game On right now?
So the original announcement for the private placement was 1.5. Within the first few hours, the number of the sub docs and inquiries that we got, we had to upsize it within the first few hours to 3 million. There is a chance that we upsize that as well, but again, part of it is we had to unfortunately cut some people off from the private placement because of the overwhelming response that we got for Game On, which again we have other allocations for the investors and VST investors that they wanted to get into the Game On and they couldn't because of the timing.
Okay. Okay. So actually, here's a question. I'm going to pop up from our audience. Does VST take an active? How do you manage your portfolio? Do you take an active approach, or is it more passive? Like you just buying shares? Like, give us the model.
It's active. I think we've referenced this venture build model. When we go in and find a company to invest in, we're doing so because we have expertise in that sector or segment, or a customer or client, or they're solving a pain point within our existing ecosystem. So we roll up our sleeves and we take material stakes. So we're actively involved. We'll take a board position. In most cases, we'll almost act as a co-founder. And we're going into spaces that we have relationships, partnerships, and expertise in, again, to mitigate the downside risk of that investment and to give us the greatest chance of success and to complement that company and founder as well.
Okay. So again, we didn't even mention that one of your, so far, one of your, the big success stories has been Fans Unite, which was a spin out, was it last year, right?
Yeah, it spun out in May of last year. Yeah, it performed well. And, it's a great example of,
let's talk about the value created. Walk us through how you created the value and up to date right now, because the stock has made a new high. Was it last week? I think we hit a new high.
Yeah, I mean, so let's start off with the fact that, we were in a sector early. So VST had originally acquired Fans Unite for 2 million Canadian dollars in an all-stock transaction. That company was actually operating out of an accelerator in Boulder, Colorado, but they had a really, really smart team that was doing something disruptive in the sports betting and gaming space. So they were already, very forward-looking entrepreneurs. It's a sector and space we knew, so we acquired that asset. Spent about, I would say, 18 to 24 months, working with that rockstar group and building it up. And then when they're ready to commercialize, they listed last year in May. I think they opened at around a $25 million market cap. Today, it's sitting at, I think over $300 million market cap. So you've seen significant growth. But the consistent themes there are being early in a sector, having the reach to find some of the brightest entrepreneurs or teams in that sector, having the expertise to be able to collaborate and work with them and complement them to get to where they need to get to, and then ultimately unlocking value for VST shareholders because we own a nice position in that business. It validates this unicorn farm thesis, and it sets the tone for the rest. I mean, the success of Fans is just the first inning. Game On's the second, and on and on and on. So.
Okay. So you have how many? You have it's 23 portfolio companies now, right?
There's about 23 portfolio companies in there. Some are who's done an amazing job, working with those companies. We internally reference select. So there's about 9 or 10 select. So those are the ones that are kind of hitting their hockey stick curve right now. And then the balance are like I think you used the word harvesting. They're getting ready. They're up.
Hatching.
Yeah, they're on deck next. So.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Essentially, you're in the venture capital business. I think it's important for everybody also to understand. Look, you have 23 companies in a typical VC model. They expect really only 3, maybe 5% of them, 10% of them to really be a home run, like a 10-bagger, a few of them they'll get the money out, and most of them will be duds. I mean, they'll either lose it or whatever it is. So out of the 23 companies, not every one of them is going to be, $1 billion company. I mean, probably, Shafin, I don't want to insult you, but I'm sure like half of them will not be around, but you'll have a few home runs that'll more than pay for the portfolio by, factor of I don't know how many X.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think it's the idea of like a greatest hits album. There's going to be tracks on there that you love for sure. You might not like all of them, but they're going to be there. And I think when we make an investment, I mean, there are a couple of things that go into it. When VCs are making investment, they're sometimes passive and they're making lots of investments. We're going into spaces where risk mitigation is actually part of our mindset in how in the criteria as to how we invest. Spaces that we know that we have relationships in, that at least these businesses can add value from a cash flow perspective. Maybe they can amalgamate with an existing company in our portfolio, or there's team. Talent is hard to come by. There's a bit of a talent war in the tech space as well, and so identifying some of the greatest talent. There have been cases where we've made investments where, let's say, that original idea didn't necessarily work, but that team was able to come on to one of the other portfolio companies, which made that company significantly stronger. So there are some things in our ecosystem that we have, again, to protect us on the downside. And when you look at, again, the biggest thing is, as an investor myself and as the largest shareholder, I don't want to have a one-trick pony. I want to have diversification, diverse revenue streams, because if one thing doesn't work, well, I've got 22 other things that are, again, there's a consistent criterion theme there of great space, early, great team, product, market fit, and the probability is high that I'm going to do very well.
Yeah, basically, look, essentially you have multiple shots on goal. I mean, you have you're starting with, I think for the takeaway for investors, you're starting with a winning model. And then you have multiple shots on goal, and the upside when you hit that goal is, it's exponential. It's a massive upside. Like we're seeing with fans. And fans is still in the stages. I mean, fans is not a full unicorn. It's like a not even a teenage unicorn. It's still, it's like an adolescent. It's like a 12-year-old unicorn.
Yeah.
So it'll be exciting to see what happens there. Let's talk about. Hang on a second. We got a question here. Let's go to the audience question. Immersive tech. You have an immersive tech deal you want to talk about?
It's on deck now. Sorry, were you gonna say something?
Go ahead.
I was just saying, it's on. It's immersive is on deck next. I think Vahid was mentioning earlier the response to this, pre-IPO financing for Game On was significant, and we had to, cut people back, and we apologize for people that weren't able to get in, but immersive is up next, so I would say stay tuned for that. I think we're anticipating immersive being listed, most likely May, but we're going to shoot for April. But it's on deck next. Again, the VR and AR space is not only hot now, but we think this is going to continue to be a high growth space. Immersive has a great team. They built a great product. With respect to team, a lot of times when we're investing in these companies early, the team is a big part of it. And I think anyone that's followed the Game On story or the fan story has seen that the board and management team are rock solid. And I think keep an eye out for from some announcements on immersive and what immersive's got teed up. Immersive's on deck next. I would estimate about May. But if I'm wrong on that.
No, you're absolutely right. So we're expecting about Q2 for immersive. We're doing a few things in parallel. One is building the product, building the team. And not only we're working on the IPO approach to have the prospectus and everything to be ready, but also we're looking at the opportunities to acquire existing public companies in AR VR that is going to go under immersive, and that's going to speed up the go public strategy for immersive as well. So we're on track for Q2 for immersive, and as Shafin mentioned, after the overwhelming response that we got for Game On, we're going to open that up to the VSD investors as well.
Okay, so we already have a question now about. Hang on a second. What is? I think okay. So the guy wants to know what's going to be the third spin out after the immersive deal. So people already. I think what's going to happen is this. I think after you spin out, Game On, all of a sudden the market's going to look at VST in a brand new way. Like, wow, this is really like, this is like the unicorn that's laying these golden eggs, and they're gonna the value is going to really explode, and it's going to happen as you do more of these spin outs. It's really going to like take on a life of its own. But so I guess this so Phenom is asking, what is the next one after immersive?
So after immersive, there are two different approaches that we're taking. One is there are specific assets under the VSD that we feel they need to be under a public company. So either we're going to take them public directly, or we may sell that position to an existing public company for a material stake of that public company that we can have it under VSD. And the second part of it is around the digital health that we had a few announcements about a month ago. So when we're looking at that, again, the same approach, having the multiple shots, we acquired Hydrate. Hydrate has a very good technology, has licenses, and has existing business. So Hydrate US is expanding, is growing based as per plan. Now we're creating other brands under the digital health by using the same technology, maybe with some changes on that, and using the same licenses, that we have multiple shots under digital health. When you go to the digital health right now, you see a multiple of 20 to 42 times of projected revenue for pretty much all the vehicles out there. Now the Hydrate US is on track for 5 million. The Hydrate Canada and Hydrate Brazil, we have already started putting the team together and applying for licenses. We're expecting for launching Hydrate Canada and Brazil for end of Q1, maybe Q2. Discrete care, again, we're on track. We were a little bit behind of the schedule because we decided to use our own technology rather than using a white label. So the user interface is fully done. The contracts for delivery, for test, and also using our own pharmacy is done. We're modifying the technology from the Hydrate. We're on track for late Q1 for discrete care. Then we also have the mental health and televets for offering telemedicine to pet owners. That again, that's a market that people are not looking at it today, and we're taking a different approach for those two verticals by M&A and partnership with the larger organizations. We're again end of Q1, beginning of Q2. Those will be launched, and then we also have our own online pharmacy today under Hydrate that we can share the link with the shareholders, and also our hospitality that we're finalizing the contract for that. So by doing that approach, we're probably gonna have 6 or 7 brands under our digital health that each by itself can be a spin out and can bring the revenue. Now, based on the plan that we have for each of those arms, again, that's a forward-looking statement, but we're expecting a revenue of $1 million to $5 million for each of those arms in the next 12 to 18 months.
Okay, it's pretty substantial. I never telehealth for pets. But pets is, it's a big market. I mean, look at this stock. What was it, Chewy, or it's a hot area. So wow, very interesting. Let's see. Let me see if we have a couple more questions. I can't find. Okay, we get about 100 questions. I don't know if I can find it, but somebody's asking if you can talk about. I guess like companies that they're So the companies that are in the spotlight, we have Game On, we have Fans, which is already hatched. We have digital health. What else? What do you have there that's kind of like less well known that you think may have some significant upside?
Well, so I'll mention a couple. We've talked about Game On, Fans Unite, Immersive. Vahid's kind of talked about the digital health space, which is a big focus of ours. So there's multiple projects kind of within there. There are some other ones that I think people are going to be hearing about. One is Copilot. So Copilot, amazing team. They're working in the sales automation space. Their revenue growth. So internally we look at this triple, double from a revenue perspective. And most of the companies that we're talking about are hitting that kind of milestone. And this is one company that is just on fire right now. So they're going to be ones that I think people are going to be hearing about. Covalent is
What
another.
does it mean? What does it mean? Triple. What is a triple?
Oh, revenue-wise, sorry. So, like in the case, so let's just look at Hydrate, for example. Million in revenues last year, on track for 5 this year. We're anticipating triple, so we expect 15 in next year, and then a double, 30 and 60 the following 2 years after that. And that's just, again, in the tech space, in the spaces we're in, they're high growth. So once you hit that inflection point, triple, double, which is kind of what we look at from as a criteria on what kind of growth prospects we need. Copilot is one. Covalent is another. Covalent is in the blockchain space. They've been building deep tech tools in the off of the Ethereum kind of platform. And what's exciting about that company is not only their leadership team and the growth they have, but when you see a company go through a crypto winter or a blockchain winter and stay alive, the conviction and belief in that is significant. Now they're getting rewarded for that. So Covalent's another big one. There was a transaction earlier with a company called Cloud9 where we had some strong assets in the crypto space with respect to a desktop miner, a physical piece of hardware that you can plug in at your home, powered by software that allows you to mine one of 5 different types of cryptocurrencies, and a decentralized database system. Now, I don't want to get too technical and confuse the readers, the viewers. But again, I'd say Copilot, Covalent, and Cloud9 are 3 that are, I think, are teed up right around the corner. And Vahid could probably add a number more that are ready.
Yeah. So beside what Shafin mentioned, we are also into the insurance tech. We have a company called Cloud Advisors that they're providing the AI in the insurance tech. They're on track for the growth that we were expecting from them. We have another company in AR/VR called Shape Immersive that again, solid team. They're working with larger companies to provide AR/VR for e-commerce, and they launched a few products. You can look at their website. So that's Shape Immersive. We're also into the payment industry. So we have a payment company for the payment processing, and the payment processing is a complementary service for us when it comes to any of our portfolio companies. So, for example, the Hydrate the example that we use, we're going to have our own processing company for all these divisions that are going to process in healthcare. And lastly, we're also into online education. So we have Nexus Centrum is it's an online education platform that people can go take courses, and they've done a great job in past 3 years with user acquisitions, and that's the main thing. And one other one is Draft Label. The Draft Label is our tech company and development company that sometimes with our portfolio companies, rather than providing the hard dollars, we're going to provide them credit for us to do their development job, and we take stock or we sign a contract that we get ongoing payments from them.
Okay, I don't think we have enough time for the next 2 days to go through all the companies. So we're gonna have to it'll have to trickle out, or like every few weeks, people will get a little idea. So yeah, I like this triple. He likes this strategy here. Times 100. We need the 100 bagger now.
Okay. Tim Hortons, the double for the triple.
Oh, is that a Tim Hortons? As a Canadian? Okay, it's a Canadian joke. So lost. Okay, so all right, fantastic, guys. This is great. I mean, this is, I think, a milestone event. I mean, what's going to happen with this spin out? I'm looking forward to it. This is really like I think for VST, really that is going to be the inflection point when Game On gets dividended out. The perception of the company is going to completely change with investors. So it's going to be fascinating to watch.
And just to add to that, again, as Shaf mentioned, this is not a one-time thing. So the reason that we took our time to come up with the strategy and the plan was something that we can have it ongoing on every spin out. Again, we're going to look at it case by case, but the plan that we designed is not only based on Game On, and this is something that we'd like to reward VSD shareholders on an ongoing basis.
Excellent. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Look, I'm really looking forward to getting you back for the next update.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, guys. Okay. Wow. Great stuff happening. A lot of action today with these stocks. Okay, let's get ready for our next presenter. Here we go. Okay, stand by. Let me just get this set up for you. Okay, Todd.
Hi, Jack. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
Man, I got to tell you, it's a very historic and special day, not only just for RedLight Holland, but I actually think for the world. I really do. I really mean that. So when you ask how I am, I didn't sleep much last night. We've been working on something for a long time. Markets move fast. Deals take some time to get done. Proper deals, not the BS deals that some companies put out there. Real deals. And I'm just so stoked to be able to share it with you and everyone listening. So thanks for having me. Watching, not listening. Yeah, watching and listening.
I think we have a record amount of people. We have 835 people watching right now, which is, I mean, for stocks, it's a lot. It's not like you're Kim Kardashian, it's
listen, how many are the Red Light Army? Let's see how many are the hashtag Red Light Army. Let's see that.
The Red Light Army. We have let's see, we're gonna have the
thanks, Ramsey.
Todd, have you been using your product? Have you been?
Oh man, I got to tell you, so I'll be very honest.
You're not in Canada. You're in St. Vincent's right now, right?
I am in St. Vincent. Okay. Again, markets move fast, lawyers move slow. It takes time to get, there's a lot of due diligence that goes into it. I'll be very honest, actually. Let me dial it back, take a step back, and I'll answer that question. I actually wish I was on my product right now. I wish I was using iMicrodose. I'm a very anxious guy, and I'll tell you, I'm working 24/7. We have an amazing team. The whole team's working 24/7, and it's a small team. We have over $30 million in the bank right now, so I'm going to tell you, we're probably going to expand it a little bit because I have some use of proceeds, and we even have the RedLight Holland give you a job contest, which I want people to apply. I'm actually not getting as many applications that I thought we would. Why I wish I had my product, Jack, is it helps me anecdotally with my anxiety. It helps me park my anxiety. It's still there. It's in a shelf in my brain. It's not like ignoring it. It's not like I change as a person. Just allows me to focus a little better. And that's what it does for me when I microdose truffles. And I wish I had some here in St. Vincent, but right now I can't. Hopefully in the future we can.
All right, fantastic. We got a lot of people here. We even have we have our celebrity super chat. This guy is he has a YouTube channel with 1 million people on it.
The Beast, LA Beast, right? LA Beast is a beauty. He supports us on Twitter. I'm so thankful and grateful.
That's his name.
I think, what a beauty. I'm actually going to send him some merch. What a beauty. We'll get him some free merch.
I think he wants some of the truffles. I think he's going to eat 1 million truffles on.
That's actually a great idea. Speaking of merch, I just designed these today, Jack. Hang on a second. Where are they? Hang on a second. I just got them done right now as we're talking. Let me see.
We're going to talk about the Brazil deal. This is going to be that. I mean, today this.
Well, this is what it is. Can you see that? Can you see it? Can you see what that says?
I got a glare. It's okay. Trip. I see a stock symbol. I can't. It's hard to.
One micro step for man, one macro leap for mankind. And yes, I stole Neil Armstrong's line when he went to the moon.
Excellent.
So, what we did today, Jack, is, I'm actually amazed by this. I got to tell you, I'm emotional by this. Through months and months of work here with our partners, we got product to Brazil, and it's not just getting product to Brazil, but I'm going to show you the headline. Well, I'll read you the headline. Okay. RedLight Holland iMicrodose pack receives authorization for the first legal import and sale of psilocybin truffles to Brazil. Now, Anvisa, the Brazilian Health Regulatory Agency, is granted a permit to import our product, the iMicrodose packs, by way of the country's named patient import process for prescribed medical use. Meaning, a patient now, think about this. Think about how unreal and incredible this actually is for a movement and for a precedent. A patient has been prescribed by a doctor in Brazil our iMicrodose packs. Now, for confidentiality reasons and for patient-doctor confidence, you can't say the patient's name, you can't say what the prescription was for, but you can say that that was done from the named patient import process. And our microdose packs are sitting in a logistics hub right now in the Netherlands and are being prepared to get shipped over to Brazil to then go to the doctor to then get prescribed to this patient. And if that's not groundbreaking, and if that's not historic,
this is the first. You're the first.
Listen, so in Canada, Jack, the Health Canada, which would be sort of what Anvisa is in Brazil. By the way, Brazil, 200 million population, right? And very sadly, I might add, the World Health Organization just named Brazil, and it's not a positive to be naming them this, the most highly anxious population in the entire planet. Stress and anxiety and depression have gone up in really very significant numbers in Brazil. And also very sadly, suicides have gone up in Brazil. So, let's sit back and have some compassion and empathy for a moment. And again, I always talk about, like, I can't make medical claims, and I'm trying to figure out, maybe I can make medical claims now. I need legal to be able to help us with that. But all I know is that we're getting product over to Brazil and it's being prescribed to a patient. And back to Canada, they've allowed compassionate grounds for those who are terminally ill with severe trauma to have access to magic mushrooms or magic truffles, I guess. There's no one ever, though, that's been allowed to prescribe them their product, because there's no one else who's doing this, growing natural occurring psilocybin like we are. We have 1 million grams growing right now, and we've had more before. So we're taking our product, which we've from day one purposely made look like it could be a medication, where there's contraindications and a leaflet explaining usage and consumption and, a careful, responsible nature with education and information. And now the way our brains have worked from day one have come to fruition into Brazil, and we'll get the products there. And I don't think we're just going to stop with, the goal is to keep going here. And it's a precedent. And I think, and unless someone can Google and find me if there's ever been a company with psilocybin out there in the world, natural psilocybin, that's been prescribed to a patient for medical use now, not for a trial and this, for actual medical use, show them to me. I can't find any. And we're just so proud and so grateful. And most importantly, we want to be a part of positive change. And this, to me, is why I say it's one micro step for man and one macro leap for mankind. This is about being a part of a positive change. And I didn't sleep much last night because I was really excited to share this news to the world. And we've been working very hard with our team in Brazil, Disruptive Pharma, and I'm so grateful for their support. And thank you to Anvisa and the Brazilian authorities for being so progressive. And it's one step, man, one small step, one micro step.
So this is actually a big deal. So I think
this is actually a big deal.
It's.
I want to hear your Christopher Walken come around. This is the biggest deal I've ever heard in my life. This is astronomical. This is precedent setting. In 2001 in Canada, they allowed patients to use, a few of them, cannabis. Look where cannabis is now. Look where it is in Canada. Look where it is going and becoming in the United States. This is bigger than big, in my opinion. I'm allowed saying that. I'm allowed being excited. I've been working hard for it, and our team is incredible. This is Brazil, 200 million people, Jack.
Anyway. Well, you notice, I'm in the U.S. In the U.S. they don't know where Brazil is. It's we don't have geography, but it's a game changer deal, right? So basically, there's revenues. In terms of the market, there's going to be
it's a sale. That's the other thing. It's a sale. It's a sale of a product. We've sold product to go to Brazil. But and that's important for the markets to understand that. I get that sales, revenues. I'm in selling online right now. iMicrodose.nl. Go and check it out. Smart shops. We have a product there and fridges. But it's just the idea now. We're opening up our markets. And by the way, this is we've publicly disclosed this. We're working with a public affairs team in Canada to speak to the government. So now I can go to the government of Canada and say, look what I'm doing in Brazil. And this is just really and I should calm down. I'm very excited. I'm sorry if it's too much energy. I told you I'm an anxious guy, but I just think it's monumental. And to be honest, I think this puts us at the top of the entire psychedelic sector for what we're doing, because we're not just making announcements, but doing things in labs that don't exist. There's tangible revenues right now coming in. So this is, it's movement, and it's showing that we can do what we say we're going to do. And it's showing that if these markets open up, that we can be suppliers, distributors, packagers, There's just so much going on. There's so much going on. Do you have 2 hours today?
No, we got another company coming up.
Yeah, really, Jack. We need them today.
We're gonna open up for questions. Anybody? So we got a lot of people. We get almost 1,000 people right now. I'm looking 900 plus on YouTube. There's got to be probably another 500 so on what is it, the Periscope or whatever it is.
Listen, everyone should retweet this after. Everyone should take the YouTube video, take out clips. This is groundbreaking stuff. It's a historic day for RedLight Holland, and we are supremely proud. We really are, and we're very grateful for all the support. We absolutely love the fact that we've gotten support from really just regular, wonderful investors who foresee what we think we foresee, which is the future, which is opening up markets to psilocybin. And by the way, we just proved that in Brazil, and we're going to continue to prove that in our opinion. Of course, we're not there yet, but I'm going to work as hard as I can to get there. And Jack, I keep talking. I'll let you talk. I'm sorry.
You go ahead. Keep going.
No, I don't even know.
Yeah, I want to talk about the league.
Can I? A year ago, I was in the Netherlands. I met our president for the first time, Hans Derricks. Did I show you our farm? I've showed you our farm, right? Did you get the video of the farm I sent you? Can you put that up today?
I don't have it. I can't pull it up, but we have it in one of the previous videos.
Okay, yeah. I mean, just
you can show from your phone. Okay,
yeah, whatever.
Or you can do us. Oh yeah, we had that. Yeah. We had that.
Yeah, just a beautiful farm. Okay, go ask questions. I'm sorry, I'll calm down. So I need my product.
I think one of the big things is that, like, all of a sudden we're seeing all these states different, like they're either decriminalizing, the mushrooms are going to be really like Los Angeles.
Just go read what's going on in California right now.
Yeah, I think New Jersey. I mean, like places you would never imagine. All of a sudden, it's gonna be basically like essentially like what happened with cannabis, but much faster because of that. They laid the groundwork, but all of a sudden we're starting to see these things like popping up, like mushrooms almost. These legalization. So
that's a good one. That's a good one. They're popping up like mushrooms. I like that. Okay.
So let's see. Do we have any questions? Audience questions, please, guys. Yes, we got a bunch of. Let's see. Any questions here? By the way, you have a lobbying group for Canada, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, that's
Wellington DuPont, and that's what I can say for now. We're a very interesting company because we came out of the gate and people were like, well, what are they doing? And I just kept doing and kept showing that we're doing stuff. And the idea of it is exactly what's happening in Brazil right now. I got a product to market efficiently and a product that I said at the time, I can't make medical claims, but we're going to design it as looking like a medical product, even though it's a recreational product in the Netherlands where we can sell it. Now Brazil's opened up their door to it. Again, patient prescribed by a doctor, getting shipped there with an import. The authority to get the AN visa has allowed it. So this is my mission in life. I want to provide access now because I want to help people. And maybe I can't make those medical claims yet, but I'm telling you, I'm doing everything in my power to help people. And I won't stop until I do.
Okay. Let's go into, we got a couple of questions. It's hard for me to scroll, but okay. So we got a question. Profit margin on the microdose packs going to Brazil. What are the margins like?
My margins are good. It's funny. I never know what I can disclose or not disclose with the margins, like because of my legal team. They always get you to be careful what you say if it's not in your MD&A or not in your prospectus. But we got we got 2 bought deals recently, over $30 million in the bank. And I think it might even be 32, 33, maybe. I got to say over 30 because it's unaudited. But we're tight burn too. They're good margins. Let me speak to my legal team. Next time I come up there, let me show you the margins, but they're really good margins. Very good margins.
Okay. I think it's a very strong validation to get $30+ million in, bought deals. I mean, it's
a bought deal. For those who don't know, it's really interesting. I was that retail investor just a couple of years ago. When you get a bought deal, you basically turn your entire company inside out. You're basically getting probed. Okay. And they check out your company and they make sure everything is clean as a whistle, which of course it is. Look at our management team. You think they're going to let anything go astray? From Bruce Linton to Brad Lamb to Ann Barnes, forget about it. Amazing team, unbelievable coaches and guidance. And I'm just so blessed. So anyway, we are just so pleased to be able to say we got a bought deal because it's a stamp of approval. It's a stamp of approval for what we're doing. And I'm just very excited by it.
Questions about the growing of the truffles. What's going on with it?
Okay, hang on. I just I'm in a meet. I'm just no. Okay, we're okay. Sorry, someone was just trying to talk to me. So give me one sec. If you don't mind.
I have to keep.
Okay, hi. Sorry about that.
Everybody. That's a tough.
No. I have a lunch meeting and it's just it's anyway. They're here already. But
okay. Up to date. What are you doing? So in St. Vincent's, you just what's going on with St. Give in case anybody's new.
Yeah.
To the story.
Okay, so totally, I would love to give you the update about St. Vincent. Again, markets move fast, deals take time. So you got to do due diligence. So I'm in St. Vincent, and I know what it seems like. Don't get me wrong. Oh, you're in St. Vincent. It's beautiful there. What are you doing? You're sitting. You're going in the ocean. All this. No, I'm working, and all I do is work. I look at a beautiful scenery, and it actually drives me friggin' crazy that I can't go and enjoy it. Here's the truth. So we're just working through the process with Mira and the legals and the due diligence to be able to try to get this deal done. And I assure you, I'm not here to not get a deal done. That's the intention of me being here. I can't guarantee the deal's going to happen, but I can tell you I'm here for a reason.
Okay. So we got a bunch of questions on the Mira deal. What's going on there?
Well, again, the Mira deal is in due diligence. It's a huge opportunity for the company. We can set up a research and development arm in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I've met with government officials, basically every single government official except for the Prime Minister, and the intention is for me to meet with him as well. We're working through a group down here who represents Mira. And it just, there's a lot of, it's so hard for me to describe this because on the other end, when I was a retail investor, I used to look at things and be like, why the hell's it taking so long? In private companies, you can do a handshake and you can look someone and say, hey, let's go. And you can trust the person and get it done. Legals protect capital markets for a reason. They protect the investor. You have to disclose everything you do carefully. So they go out and the legals, as much as they drive me nuts, they do it for a reason, indemnities, warranties, all this kind of stuff, because they want to make sure you get into a real deal where the investor can't get burned. And I'm representing not just you, probably thousands of investors from institutional to retail ones. So you just have to do this stuff slowly. And I know that's an interesting thing to bring to the market, but that's just the facts, what goes on behind the scenes. And it's frustrating. If I was in a private co, I would have had this deal done, in my opinion, by now, but it just takes time.
Okay, so when you did the bought deal, the $30 million, most of that was that mostly for institutions, family offices. What was the kind of the break? You have retail. What was the?
Yeah, I think, institutionals went in and I call them the suits, and the suits supported us. They supported a movement and a mission. I got to be honest, when we took this company public, what is it, 7-8 months ago now, keep in mind, our last raise was at 6 cents when we took it public. So look where we are today. So the early investors are obviously very pleased. I'd like to think we have strong hands in that early investor group too. But now, we're seeing these bought deals come into play, which really help fund our company. And I got to tell you, if you understand the process, right, what retail does, if they support a business and if they support a vision of a business and people who deliver on that vision, which RedLight Holland is definitely doing. Again, I think we're the leader in the sector, if you ask me. I think we're undervalued, and I think we're the complete leader because no one's doing what we're doing. We're growing 1 million grams of truffles. We're selling in the Netherlands, and eventually we're going to be selling in Brazil, which is like literally we just announced. And we're opening up doors to a lot of opportunities and branding it way better than anybody else. And wait till the Wisdom Truffle comes out with Karim Rashid. So my point being is when retail invests, it really brings a big eye onto your company. And then the banks come calling because they see volume, they see movement, they see hype, and they see this really great support. So they want to get into it. So without all of you, we wouldn't get the support. Maybe, we might, but from the institutions. Now we've created a movement which we're merging the suits and we're merging the retail to say, hey, Todd, RedLight Holland, what can you do? And I'm telling you, I'm doing everything I can to make everybody have a great investment. And again, I can never project prices and I can never tell you where we're going to be. But in my opinion, we're the top of our sector because nobody is doing what we are doing. Not one of them. And they can all pretend they are, but they're not. And they're going to try and follow me and copy me and do logo design contests, which we did first. And I see others doing it now. I don't care because I'm a creator, Jack. So I'll stay one step ahead of everyone who then just rips us off creating after us. And that's my mission. And by the way, the psychedelic sector is supposed to be this unified, beautiful space of connectivity and love and growth. But unfortunately, the capital markets don't allow you to be that. And I don't want to be humble anymore. I just want to tell you that I feel like we're the leaders.
Speaking of which, okay, so we got a question. Great question. What can RedLight do to create that moat, that unique value in the market, the branding? how are you going to stand out and basically be competition proof essentially?
So well, let me ask you a question. Do you know anyone who's imported a produced product that they can sell in the world?
No.
Do you even know anyone who's selling product in the country where their farm is?
No.
So, I mean, you talk about first mover advantage and a moat, like we're doing it. That's exactly what we're doing. And wait till people catch on. Wait, and we're branding and people love us because listen, we have a fun team who are real people who want to work hard for everybody. We're not just like, I'm not from the capital markets. We have 30. Listen, I started all this with maybe 3-4 million in the bank. We have 30 now, maybe 33, I think. I don't know. I'll say over 30 to be safe so nobody ever calls me out on it. Wait till you see what I can do, in my opinion, with 30 million. And our team.
I think that's what people are waiting for, because they're saying, "Wow, this guy's got 30 million. He's got he's got Bruce Linton there. He's got." I mean, there's like people basically essentially at this point they're saying, "Wow, this is going to be something very exciting to watch." I think that's why the stock has some tremendous excitement. I think the branding thing. I mean, I think when the question about the moat was, what you're doing with branding is actually very unique in the space. I don't think anybody in the psychedelic space is doing branding right now.
Well, they're trying to now. Like you see some of the pharma companies, and listen, I respect them, I really do, but they're trying to now say, "Hey, buy our merch." And I'm like, that's great, but like, would you ever go and buy a Pfizer and like your Johnson & Johnson t-shirt? Like, it's just sort of peculiar to me. I'm not going to lie. We're a consumer goods product, and that's, you buy that merch, you support that merch around it. So, I love the fact that they're trying, because we're doing it well and they're trying to catch on. And I think it's great. I think it's great that they're following suit. And again, what do they say? Imitation is the highest form of flattery. I think it's wonderful. I really do. But I can tell you that we're a brand. We're a real brand. And we're a fun brand. We're creating an iMicrodose lifestyle. We want people to live in a moment. To be honest, I wish I lived in the moment right now. This is being a CEO of a pubco, dude. It's a super lonely place to be. I mean, I used to earn a living in media, saying every single thing that came to my mind without any question, no filter, just went at it. And now I can't really say anything. But if you know the way my mind operates, especially people close to me, there is a lot of shit I would love to tell you.
Yeah, no, this is going to be very exciting to watch in the next in the next weeks and months. But essentially, in summary, for anybody that's new to the story, you're basically doing like what Red Bull is for energy drinks, you're going to be doing for the psychedelic space, right?
We do a branded product that's put in a fridge. It has to be kept in its raw, natural, wet form, which means it needs to be refrigerated to be purchased to stay good. And there's fridges in smart shops. So yeah, if you think about the way Red Bull went about it, and then they had that product and they built a lifestyle around it. Now, we're not about extreme sports and all this, and that was an amazing brand, by the way. We're about living in the moment, paddle boarding, going for a walk, doing great stuff, putting down your phone a little bit, and wait till the wisdom truffle comes out. I promise you, it's coming up probably, I don't think it's material. It's not, because I think I'm going to put it out Monday or Tuesday. It's basically done. We got the renditions being put out. Then it's got to get made and manufactured, of course. That takes a little bit of time. But the design with Karim Rashid, Time Magazine's structural designer of the Americas, you don't just rush these things. And that's what I mean. The markets move fast. It takes time to get real stuff done. And all I ever want to do is try to create real value. And that's what we're doing very hard at RedLight Holland. Very proud. So the iMicrodose lifestyle is very important to us. And I hope you all can live it too, because it's tough times.
Okay, so you're gonna unveil the design, the branding, with the Karim Rashid design on Monday.
I think, yeah, I might as well. Now that I said it, Monday, Tuesday, we'll come out with it. Early before Wednesday. It's a new logo. I love the logo. We had three. I love the logo. I love the logo. I love the retro logo. I love the new logo. I think it'll surprise people a little bit. I think you'll see that it's in touch with this logo. But we had a lot of people speaking to us. The Red Line Army said, "I think your logo could use some work." So we've got this one of the top designers in the world to do some work on it.
We're gonna actually a couple of interesting questions. I think. Oh my God, they're moving very fast. Okay, here we go. This is fascinating. Would RedLight consider a subscription model to ship the product to people? Like everything is subscription.
We have it. Well, sorry, we have it. That's if you go to imicrodose.nl right now, where you can buy our product. If you're 18 plus in the Netherlands, we have a subscription model, and we have individuals who have bought the year subscriptions, who bought the 6-month subscriptions. You get a little savings when you do it that way as well. So it's like your own reminder. Once a month, you get a pack shipped to your house. We think that if you could sell 12 packs a year if you start doing the math on this stuff, if you think of 100,000 people ordering 12 packs a year on a subscription model, which you would use on consumption, about 1 day on, a few days off, depending on how you choose to microdose. That's what a lot of people recommend. That's what we recommend. We don't really recommend dosage, but we can inform you about how dosage can work. And if you do that, that's 1.2 million packs. If I tell you my margins are, over $20 a pack, start doing the math. So again, you got to get there. It takes time to get there. It takes marketing, takes advertising. You need this product. It's new for people, so they got to learn about the product. And now you go into Brazil. And then maybe one day could we go into Canada? And maybe one day we can go into California or Oregon, which we're already working towards in a non-binding LOI with Halo Labs as they write Measure 109. And then what happens in Denver? And then where do the dominoes fall? And who's the company from day one that proved they could do it? Growing, selling, distributing, packaging, and then getting it to other countries. That's us.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. And what's happening is, again, look, all these places are opening up. I mean, it's going to be like probably the next 12 months, you're going to have massive new markets. We had a great question. I guess he's asking, what are you going to be doing with this 30 million? How are you going to be deploying it? Acquisitions, growth, or what's going to be?
Yeah, what's beautiful about getting a bought deal, and this is also I would love to share people what if you're a retail investor, I'll be very honest, this is stuff I didn't even know 3-4 years ago when I was buying stocks in companies. Go to CEDAR, SEDAR.com, and you can go and look at our prospectus that's filed. In that prospectus, you can literally look at the use of proceeds table where we talk about those funds and where they're going. And again, it doesn't mean that you can't pivot and shift a little bit, but it's an idea of the management discussion and analysis that's been put in to see where that's going to go. When you get a bought deal, you have to share with really the regulatory bodies on why you're receiving money and what you plan on doing with that money. There's so much paperwork to, it's again, being a CEO of a pubco is a very lonely place to be because it just really doesn't end. And there's so much paperwork that goes into the stuff. That's why things take time. But again, you can go and see how we plan on using some of the use of proceeds for setting up a facility in St. Vincent. Now, again, that deal's not closed yet, so I have to be careful, but that's what our use of proceeds are projecting. We also, our use of proceeds are projecting setting up a facility in Oregon. So again, not closed yet. We're still waiting for Measure 1 to be written, but that's what we're projecting. We're also projecting to use proceeds for branding and marketing. I mean, that's not cheap. And we're going to spend extra amounts of money into that to really grow this brand, to not only sell microdose packs in the Netherlands, but to sell merch. And I really want to invest in marketing this wisdom truffle because I think that can be a massive alternative revenue stream for the company. So again, if you go to cedar.com, you can see a lot of different use of proceeds for the movement of our company and where it plans to go. And to be honest, I think we need some more staff because I don't think anyone wants me getting completely burned out, but I do love what I'm doing and I'm very grateful to be doing it.
Well, it's interesting. Like we talked about the first time we were on. I mean, the thing that you're doing with the branding with Karim Rashid, I always mispronounce it, Karim. I mean,
Karim.
Yeah, Karim is essentially, it's very similar to what Supreme did with their branding. I think they were a skateboard company, but people buy their thing. They don't even know what a skateboard is, right? I mean, they just like the logo. So the same thing with what you're doing with the truffles. I think a lot of people, they're not even doing the truffles, but they're going to like this logo and they're going to like the whole thing. And it's got a certain subversive, aspect to it, which creates, I get it.
I've said it before on the show, Jack, that, a brand is to me, more valuable than a commoditized plant. And I think that commoditized plant can be very valuable. So imagine the two together. You got to think of alternative revenue streams. And again, I think the big thing today, though, is talking about Brazil. I mean, this is really, 30 million plus and Brazil. I mean, I think if you think about the market in Brazil and what we're doing in an historic day for the psychedelic sector, something that nobody has ever done to the best of my knowledge. Again, if they have, please Google me and show it to me. We got product to Brazil prescribed by a doctor to a patient, our product over there. Boom, it's going to get there. And hopefully help. And we're going to learn about that. We have a digital care program. Our technology is insane, by the way. I've seen people overpay for apps in this industry. If you see people, I got to be careful. If you see companies overpaying for apps, go speak to any developer and go, well, why do they pay like that many $1 million for an app? Because you could build something for much less.
No,
Why do you just what think about that? Think about, how many people are great developers these days, and we're probably watching some right now that are watching us. Sorry, that don't get me wrong. There's companies that you can buy and acquire, but do you really want to make the mistakes cannabis did? I think cannabis made a huge mistake in overpaying for a lot of companies that really didn't have much, but it created a news release and it created hype for people. Why don't I want to be safe with my money, spend it intelligently and strategically? And if I can create something rather than just buy it, but create it for a quarter of the cost, a fifth of the cost, isn't that better shareholder value? Anyway, so our digital care program is incredible. It's an app. It's right now in beta in the Netherlands. So our users of the microdose packs are giving us their feedback on this program that's been developed by Radix Motion, which, this lady, Sarah Hashkes, who's really amazing for RedLight Holland. She is like, she used to work for Facebook. She's just like a brilliant lady. And she's a scientist, she's a neuroscientist, and she's also, quoted by Robin Carhart Harris in the industry. Our team of top people are getting this done efficiently and affordably. And we're very excited to get the feedback now on how our product is either, working for them and we're learning about how it's working for them.
Okay, so things are right now moving forward, at a very quick pace. Stock is up. It's done well so far. Todd, I don't know if we've raised our standards because we've recently had a company that's we're looking for this 100 bagger, which I have on the screen. Now we have already a stock that's up already 50x. So you need to catch up. I mean, this is our standards are climbing. So we're going to have you back probably in about 2 weeks or so. For the next update, or maybe sooner. It's up.
Yeah, listen, I would love to get back. During the bot deal time, you're actually you were like you're careful in your announcements because you do a prospectus, and so you actually want to kind of just slow down the pace right then, because the more you do, the more you have to disclose, and the more it slows down getting the money. So, you just you work on the things that you're working on that are existing. I'm back in create mode. I joked on Twitter, they've unleashed the beast here. I'm ready to go. And we're so grateful because everybody is supporting us. And when I say everyone, I really believe there's so many doubters at first, and so many people have turned on to what we're doing, and they're starting to really get it as the pieces of the puzzles are falling together and really connecting. And at the end of it, man, I want to help out. Depression stats and anxiety stats, like as I said, in Brazil are doubling and tripling. In the rest of the world, they're increasing right now. And I have a product, and I don't know, I guess I can't say I make medical claims, even though a doctor just prescribed it in Brazil, that I want to be able to help out and be a part of positive change. When I say I am representing everyone who invests and supports RedLight Holland. And to be honest, I want to help myself. I want to get to the Netherlands and use my products because it does help me.
It's honest. Todd, thank you very much. Thanks for the update. I think everybody, we got 1,200 people here. Everybody's looking forward.
Are there any questions? Did we miss some questions?
I think we may have missed a couple of questions, but I think we're pretty much
You're kicking me off. You're kicking me off. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks
So they want a 3 hour. Yeah. We're gonna have to have you back in the next time. We'll have to have.
You and I got to do what Rogan does, like talks for 3 hours, dude. We got to sit down and talk. I should show you pictures of me and Rogan, by the way. I met him a few times.
And we'll take sorry? We'll take the truffles. We'll do this in the Netherlands.
You want? Oh, okay. So this is, I got to be careful what I'm going to say. You know what? I don't care. It's not material. I want to bring people down to the Netherlands. That like when stuff opens up, I want to do an COVID party, and I want to bring people to the Netherlands. And I want to, like, this isn't material. This is just like marketing. This is promotional. This is fun. I want to do a party. Okay. I want to get a DJ, and I want to bring life back to the way it used to be.
Barge on that river there in Amsterdam.
Yeah, it was so funny. It snowed there the other day and it froze, and there were like a lot of skaters, and it was like really cool. My Hans Derek said it was a really beautiful time, a nice break in the Netherlands because it's stressful. It was sort of like this, tough time for a lot of people, and lockdowns and all this kind of stuff. And then the snow came, and it was like a really nice fresh moment. That microdose lifestyle. People got out and lived in it. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I got so much I can tell you, but again, the headline I'll leave you with. Don't forget this: RedLight Holland iMicrodose Packs has received the authorization for the first ever legal import and sale of psilocybin truffles to Brazil. And again, thank you to Anvisa and the Brazilian Health Regulatory Agency. Thank you to Disruptive Pharma. We worked very closely with them, and most importantly, we're grateful that a doctor has been a part of this process. prescribed it to a patient in their they call it the named patient import process. And we're looking forward to get the feedback to, see if we can create positive change here. And thank you again. I'm sorry, man, I don't know what else to say, but we're expanding, we're growing, and I think we're a leader. I think we are the leader in the sector. I don't think anyone can do what we do.
Fantastic. Todd, we'll see you in the next live stream. We're looking forward to more good news.
I really appreciate it. Jack's a nice guy, huh, everyone? Like you're just such a nice guy. Why are you a nice guy? Are you always this nice?
No, just this is, listen, I'm nice when the stock is going up,
Well, thank you again. Thank you, everyone. I hope everyone has a great day, and we look forward to updating the market as soon as we can on a lot of things that we're working on behind the scenes. But again, it's a lonely place to be as a CEO. I wish I could pontificate more, but you got to be very careful about selective disclosure. You got to be very careful about all the regulations, and I assure you that when I can, I will. Most importantly, we do have over 30 million in the bank. We're expanding to Brazil, and we look forward to bringing you more news.
Fantastic, Todd. On that note, thank you. See you in the next live stream.
One micro step for man, one macro leap for mankind.
One macro leap for investors, for shareholders, for TRUFF.
On the moon. He was on the moon.
All right. That was amazing stuff. Let's get ready for CBDT. Our first 50 bagger of 2021. Let me just get things set up here. Okay, stand by. Okay. CBDT. Okay. Let me just Steve.
Hey, good morning. How's it going?
Good morning. Good morning. Hang on a second. You can hear me okay? Yes.
Oh yeah, I can hear you fine.
Fantastic. You know what I just for the camera, I just want to lower a little bit, like so we're like get you at eye level. You know what? Yeah, stop. Oh my God, you wear a tie. This is the first time we have you with a suit and tie. All right. Oh wow. Okay, this is fantastic. What's going on? You have a big meeting today? You got big deals?
I'm talking to thousands of shareholders, so we need to remind everybody that we got a corporate public company here that's going to NASDAQ. So this is what it takes.
I guess amazing. Okay, so let's get things set up here, and we'll get started. Okay, wow, we got a lot of people here. I think we probably have between everything like about 2,000 watching. All right, welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's next Super Stock live stream, February 25th. We're back with a legendary company at this point. It's Empower CBDT. Stock is up 5,000%, 50x, which is basically, this company has done everything that we talk about. We look for those companies going after multi-billion-dollar opportunities at a key inflection point, multiple catalysts, and the stock started off at a nickel, hit recently 250. It's doing the usual, pullback / retracement that they all do. We're going to find out if this is going to be 100 bagger from here. So Steve, welcome back.
Thank you, Jack. I appreciate being on the show again.
Steve, listen, we got a lot of investors right now watching. We appreciate having you on. You got some fantastic news today. I think today is actually I think it's really a game changer for the company. You're opening 3 clinics right now, right? This is today's announcement in Ontario. This is the first.
Exactly.
You're going to have, I think, was it 100? Give us the update here.
Well, I mean, the news of this morning is really just the culmination of the efforts of our team after the Canadian clinic acquisition. So, our stated objective as becoming a integrated healthcare company in the Canadian market and having primary care doctors and paramedical practitioners in the same facility is what we're doing. So we have identified a number of locations starting in Ontario. Right now we've got our first 3 that we announced this morning. And I think part of it, why I wanted to talk about this, this morning is the demonstration of one of our key strengths, and that is the ability to recruit physicians and practitioners. We've signed on 12 medical doctors already for these particular locations, and we have a deep pipeline behind that. But I felt that this is very important to just let everybody know, no matter what, we're working hard every day on behalf of our shareholders and for the market that we're chasing after. And we are known for execution. We get things done. So no matter what's going on, whatever noise is out there, we're always working to deliver the results. And these are going to be great first clinics. We've got wonderful medical doctors who are coming on board. It's going to be incredible for patients in those local communities. It's surrounded, with the pharmacies. Whether it's on top of, whether it's adjacent to, or it's across the street, it's still meeting that goal of being surrounded in the community and being part of community. So we're just very excited to start the tenants improvements and get these clinics open here in the second quarter.
Okay, for anybody that's not familiar with the real estate terms, tenants improvements is what? Basically, you're building out the stores.
Yeah, building out the medical center. So, there's always some level of, construction, cosmetics that need to be done. In these facilities that we have, we actually don't have to do that much, work or improvements, but we do have to spend a little bit of money. It's very, it's common. You can't just walk into a facility and have it, be patient ready. We have a few things to do, but in these particular cases, it's going to be very affordable. It's fast. And again, we expect to be, treating patients coming here in the second quarter.
Okay. So I think the takeaway is that last time you were on, which was, we talked about the kind of the path to 100 million in revenues. To me, I think that's really part of the big story. 100 million in revenues from the clinics. I mean, to me, that is, I know those are the COVID tests. I know everybody loves the Chi. I think the clinics thing is good. My personal opinion, I think that's the thing where the market's going to value that at 10x, 20x. Because that 100 million revenues that's going to be built. Of course, the testing is also great. Maybe it'll be bigger. So right now you got the 3 clinics. Let's go through the numbers. So how much revenues are these going to be generating? Like how much can each clinic generate?
Well, the clinic model for us, we really understand how it works and what the expected revenue streams will be. So as you build up clinics and somewhat. I'll call it square footage dependent. So our smaller facilities might be somewhere around 1,500 square feet. Some of our larger facilities could be 4,000 square feet. So obviously, if we have larger square footage, we can add additional medical doctors and additional practitioners. We know the revenue generation on average, kind of a weighted average per physician and per practitioner. So we kind of understand that we expect sort of $2.5 million to maybe $3.5, $4 million per location. Maybe for now, in year 1, year 2, we average that down to somewhere around, say, $3 million per clinic. But it gives us kind of a path and a runway to long-term, stable revenue that we can count on quarter over quarter, year over year. It doesn't go away. This is not a cyclical type of business our business model that we're building. We're building on fundamentals. It's very important for me to make sure that our divisions are self-sustaining. So I expect a clinic to pay for itself. I expect it to generate positive cash flow for our overall company. And that's just the way that I operate. So we really have this disciplined approach to identifying the locations that we're going to go into, the size of the locations, the pay scales for the physicians and the practitioners. And when we have that scale in place, what's nice about that infrastructure is we're able to add accretive healthcare services to the model. So we've talked about the concept of dermatology and cardiology, other value-added services that we can bring to patients in their neighborhood, because there's a lot of interesting healthcare technology coming to market that we can utilize to help patients and physicians operate. But ultimately, it's also positive for our company from a revenue and cash flow standpoint.
Yeah. So, I'll tell you, one of the reasons why, I love the clinic, rollout story is simply because, I know the goal is really you're building like, this healthcare company. Clinics is a part of the business. It's not the whole business. You have the testing, you have other things you're going to be adding. But what clinics does is it's something that investors, it's easy to understand, where it's almost like restaurants. Chipotle, they have one location, they open 10, they open 100, they open 1,000, and people can extrapolate. So I think that's, to me, that's sort of like the math all of a sudden is easy, and then that's what can make a stock move, and that's all I think about. So, I'm very simple-minded that way. Okay, so basically these clinics, you're gonna have 3. How fast can you get to? If you get to, let's say, 30 clinics, that could be 100 million revenues. Let's call it 40 clinics. 40 clinics is 100 million, 2.5 million per clinic.
Yeah, that's on the conservative side, right? Because the smaller locations, would probably be that type of range. The upper range is probably 3.5 to 4 million. So again, it takes time to get facilities on board and ramped up. But because we're in neighborhoods and we're surrounded by our pharmacy partners, we have immediate access to consumers and who become patients. And so it's a really nice model for us to work through. Conversely, if you went to a random independent location, you didn't have a patient base, you had to build out a facility, it could take you a few years to really get a long-term stable business model. The approach that we're taking, working in these partnerships in neighborhoods where there's a lot of built-up traffic already, speeds our time to revenues and positive cash flows. And it's the reason why we're able to recruit the doctors so quickly. They get it. They get what we're doing, why we're doing it. They understand that we've got a building market cap. We've got a lot of cash in the bank that we can deploy. So we offer stability, we offer security, we offer safety as an employer for these physicians. The end result is patients have better access to healthcare in their communities, and that's what we want to be known for. Is always thinking about the patient first. Because once we have that patient, chances are we're going to retain them, and we'll retain them for a very, very long time and a lifetime perhaps. So that the model provides really long-term fundamentals as a public company. It's a great way for us to deploy our capital, as you're kind of alluding to, and this is revenue streams that just are steady. They're there, they'll be with us year over year over year. And to the extent that we can build upon it, with accretive services, then that'll just benefit the company overall.
Okay. How fast can you get to that 30 or 40 clinics? So when can you, because you have three that are launching now with this partnership. When can you the next?
Yeah, we will continue to announce new clinic opens, really every month. This is going to be our kind of lifestyle. Is we've got a pipeline now of already a dozen locations in Ontario. We're talking about what provinces do we go to next, and these are just the first 3. But I know what the pipeline looks like already. Our leaders in this front, Dr. Jordan and Dr. Aviv, one of their real strengths is the ability to recruit physicians.
That's a big challenge. Primary care doctors, it's hard to get.
It's a very big challenge, and others have failed at trying to do that in the past. Dealing with real estate is kind of the easy part of the business model. It's the recruitment of quality physicians and practitioners, and then getting them onboarded and then managing them over time effectively. That's the difficult part of the model, but that's really our strength. Is the ability to recruit and manage, great physicians over time.
Essentially, it's all going to come down to the execution. This is
Always.
That's kind of your, I guess, specialty. Your background is execution.
Well, it is. Execution for us every day in our lives is critically important. We're very meticulous. I'm process oriented, so therefore the company is process oriented, and we have to recognize what our strengths are, and we have to leverage our capital markets the way that we are. We're very fortunate to be kind of in the position that we are at this point in time, but we're only here. You know, we're in the early stages of a long journey, and you know, we expect to continue to be laser focused on what our objectives are. We have a lot of opportunities coming our way, so we certainly have a lot of clinic rollouts in front of us that we will continue to deliver, year in and year out. But we also have a tremendous pipeline of acquisitions that are coming our way. You know, one of the benefits of being in the spotlight and having a lot of following like this is I get sent a lot of opportunities. So we don't really have to chase opportunities. Frankly, I've got a great base of shareholders who are doing a lot of searching and researching for me. I've got some, wonderful followers who actually send us opportunities, help me locate labs, help me locate transactions, and I do appreciate that part. It's a very rewarding part of my role kind of each day, is just to get that feedback from our shareholder base. So very grateful for it.
Steve, for me, the big takeaway is so far that you're going to be essentially going into like this scaling mode right now, where you're going to be putting out, every monthly, there's going to be new clinics announced, new locations announced.
Yeah, that's what we anticipate. I mean, again, we know the pipeline. I know the locations that are targeted. We're talking about 3 clinics that we're opening or we're announcing right now, but my team are doing recruitment for 10 other locations right now, and so everything starts to get into a rhythm. So we'll be in a rhythm of recruitment, contracting those doctors, signing leases, doing tenants improvements, doing grand openings, and getting down to the business of managing our patients. So that's our life going forward in our integrated healthcare strategy as it relates to medical doctors and our paramedical doctors, our healthcare centers.
Okay, so what makes this compelling for me from an investor's perspective is once they see that a few months of this news flow, new clinics announced, let's say after 3 months, all of a sudden the market starts to see they can start to extrapolate from this. So it's sort of like when we saw the growth curve, that hockey stick from, I don't know if anybody, this is Home Depot. That's a little bit before my time, actually. Home Depot, when they first launched, I guess it was in the late 80s, and became this what's the biggest company in, I don't know, it's like Walmart. When they start opening stores, they go into that massive growth mode, or Chipotle, which is just recently. Any of these types of retail type of things, essentially your model is kind of similar with that, with the clinics. It's very visible, people see it, so that's very compelling. Of course, you're building an integrated healthcare company, and we got everybody here loves the lab story. So and the first question we're going to go to is the labs. Everybody loves the lab. Mark, super chat here. Okay, can some of the new spaces be transitioned? This is where the clinics are.
Yeah. Yeah, so that we have looked very closely at that. I mean, we considered that in the U.S. One of the things that we have to decide upon, if we try to build a lab, it's probably going to take 8 to 12 months before you're actually online. And it's not the fact that you can't find real estate. It's not the fact that you can't buy medical testing equipment. It's the regulatory framework. These pieces of equipment are very sophisticated. You have to have your molecular scientists, and the equipment has to be validated, and it's governed by CLIA, which is the lab governing body. And so the concept of building, unfortunately, takes time. So that's why in the U.S. we chose to go for acquisition, because there was a huge demand in the market. We proved that we could be a player in COVID-19 testing, and where it's gone today. I mean, the fact that it's changed so much since we closed the acquisition back on October 6th, and thankfully we moved quickly. We deployed resources for R&D, and that R&D has turned into accelerating revenues. So much so now that we've literally are tripling the size of the lab, because we we have to expand. We simply have too much demand coming our way. We've got our new, here it's an example, I don't know if everybody sees this, our new Kai saliva test kit. So that's the new brand that we have and is being sold right now. And if you're trying to handle thousands of these packages coming in each day and going out each day, we just need more people. We need logistics. We need materials handling. We need admin. We need call center. And we have to separate those functions from the work that the scientists do in processing specimens and these operational tasks. So this is why we found a way to come up with a solution for space. And we just ended up doing something that was actually relatively simple, is we went to the next door neighbors and we asked them if we could take over their space and negotiated a transaction, and they agreed. So we bought out their lease, and we're just going to punch a door through the two locations. And it's a very elegant solution for us, because if we were to try and move the lab, we're probably looking at 4 to 6 weeks of downtime in that transition. And the lost opportunity cost of downtime when we've got thousands of specimens coming in each day is monumental. So it's way more effective to do what we did. So going back to answer the question for Canada, my goals are still to identify a lab or set of labs that we could acquire. But to the extent that that's not going to happen, we may need to turn to the build out. But everybody should understand that building out a lab and getting it certified is going to take many, many months.
Okay. Let's wrap up on the clinic story and then go more into the lab stuff, because everybody saying that they want to hear about the Kai. And okay, how many what is your goal with the clinics? How many clinics do you expect to open? And you're only talking about Canada now, or this is only for Canada? You're not talking about the US?
Well, no. We're our footprint is North American wide. So we have obviously been focused on the Canadian market over the last couple of quarters. It was a real stated objective of ours to establish our healthcare footprint in Canada, and then that allows us to leverage that healthcare footprint to support testing requirements and bring our test kits into the market and start to sell them here. To answer the question, I mean, certainly, we have milestones that have been established with our team members. These are performance measures. We have milestones at 10, at 20, at 30 clinics being opened in the Canadian market. I think that our team are going to far surpass that over time. The market can absolutely handle it. The market is ripe for further consolidation under a national brand. And in our case, it becomes really an international brand. So the US market is huge. So we will continue to turn our attention to the US market from a clinic standpoint as well. But right now, we've had to be fairly focused on Canada because the opportunities, we've invested in that. But you certainly can expect that we'll be working on the same sort of healthcare strategy or expansion in the United States as well here in 2021 and beyond.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, 200, 300 clinics, these are like in the US, these are like, relatively, whatever. They're like, retail locations I've seen in cities. There is, there you could easily, that's actually a very small number. I mean, but that would give you, if you have 300, US, Canada, that's $1 billion in sales, basically.
Yeah, you're going to be, a phenomenally large, integrated healthcare company. I believe that this is all possible. Our path is now set. I believe that we're building a brand, a national and international brand that deserves to be on large markets like NASDAQ. I think that's, kind of the path that we see ourselves going down now. Our market cap certainly allows us to be there. And organically, we're driving towards that stock price hurdle. But there's some technical mechanisms I can work through to pull the trigger when the time is right. But the number of clinics, I mean, we really like doing these in partnership. These pharmacy partners, wherever they may be, it's a great model for us. It's very accretive for the pharmacy groups. It's great for the patients in the communities that they're located. And it's a way to sort of de-risk, rapid growth because we're leveraging real estate that already exists. Whether you're inside or you're on top of or you're adjacent to these pharmacy partners, it's a tremendous model that if you look at the thesis behind it for the partners, the constituents that you're working with, everybody wins. And so it's a very efficient way for us to deploy our capital. It's less risky, but gives us that same upside and growth potential. And in our case, it allows us to actually scale more quickly than if we were trying to do this, say, on our own independently.
Okay. Okay. So let's let's just wrap up here on the clinics before going to the testing. I love the clinic story. That's why I keep talking about it. Okay. So because I think that's really where you're going to get that institutional buying, everything else, especially
well, it is. So I'm just looking at the question there. There's some stuff on the screen. So
are you going to be the like the Chipotle of clinics, or the Starbucks of medical clinics? Rex.
Well, I don't know really what that means, but I certainly understand the concept of building a brand and a franchise that is known around the markets that you serve. The paradigm and the shift in healthcare and the way that healthcare is delivered to patients, the way that care is delivered to patients, if the pandemic has taught us anything, is that it can evolve. And so we are wanting to be positioned to be part of that evolution, that change that's taking place. We still need that footprint of physical locations, but we leverage the physical locations, whether it's through virtual care or through technology, to get access to patients. And if you think of healthcare as a supply chain, if we can speed up this supply chain to make it better for patients, make it easier for physicians to reach their patients on a more regular basis with more data and more information, then healthcare improves. So we just want to be part of that improvement over time. And I think we're positioning ourselves to do that. We're obviously getting a lot of attention from our investment banks and the capital market. I'm incredibly grateful for that. We're going to be able to leverage that and do a lot in the future with the strength that we're building. And to the extent that we're going to be ready to go to these bigger markets, that's only going to give us more capability, more power, more ability to grow and really drive substantial shareholder value in the future.
Yeah, NASDAQ loves rollout stories, scale like that. Okay, so again, people want to hear about the labs. We got Eric saying that I'm terrible, and I need to dive into the testing. So let's go into the testing. Let's go into the first. Here we go. We got a super chat question. Adam is asking, do you anticipate Kai processing 8,000 tests per day Q2, justifying tripling expansion? Potential news on testing Dallas Airport.
Yeah, so the potential to do that type of volume is absolutely out there. We are participating in many numerous bids. There are bids for airlines, airports. We are participating now in federal government bids in the United States. We've aligned ourselves with a group that helps us directly participate in these bids. So any one of those alone, brings substantial volume to us. What we're having to do is prepare ourselves to be ready for that volume. This concept of tripling the size of our lab, it's a necessity today, never mind if big new contracts come to us. And so to the extent that we don't prepare, we wouldn't be ready to deliver. And if necessary for some of these, larger bid opportunities that are out there, if we have to expand by acquiring other labs in other markets, then we will do that. we will likely need to have coverage in different time zones. And we really view Kai as being a national brand now as it relates to science and R&D. And they're really proving that the team have the capability, they have the skill set, they have the intellect to be that national brand. And we've got great leadership in Yoshi Tyler as the president of the lab.
Okay. Okay. Christopher asking, Barclays Arena just announced providing at-home COVID test kits to sports fans, including the ticket price. Is Empower in talks? Are you talking to any sporting arenas to do this type of deal?
So we actually are. It's kind of a model that we have already been exploring with organizations. The concept being, you've got an event, and it could be a concert, it could be a hockey game, and with the executive orders that we have and these travel orders, you need this at-home kit that either you can buy off our website. You might buy it from one of our pharmacy partners as that distribution channel evolves. We have our first shipments are on their way to Canada right now. Unfortunately, with the weather problems down south, they got delayed here a few days, but we've got some product going into Toronto, into Ottawa, and to Vancouver. And that's first earmarked to go to our potential distribution partners so that they can actually look at it, understand it, use it. And the new KaiTest.com, we're pushing live or have pushed live, but in a password protected version because we're doing final QA to make sure everything's functioning properly. But we expect that to be opened up, potentially within the week. And consumers could then literally go to KaiTest.com and purchase this very kit to be sent to their home and do a non-invasive specimen collection because it's saliva-based. It includes all of the return envelopes to go back to our lab. We would process that specimen. It's done as a PCR test, so it's the gold standard of testing. And we would then provide that result back by secure email link or secure text message link to the consumer. And that would enable them to validate that they in fact are negative for COVID-19. And as we know now with travel, you need a negative COVID test, you need your passport, and you need your boarding pass. They're all mission critical documents to travel around the world at this stage.
Okay. Great question from Morpheus is asking, do you see herd immunity, the potential of herd immunity as a risk for the testing side?
Yeah, so the concept of herd immunity is very interesting. I don't think that we're going to reach herd immunity anytime soon. If you take an example in Canada, we can barely get 20% of our population to do a flu shot each year. The rollout of vaccines obviously is not going as fast as we would hope in Canada, particularly. The U.S. is just a massive population. The other consideration that we see in front of us technically is I'm not sure that we all understand how long the vaccine will last. And there's going to need to be continued screening using rapid tests and testing using PCR as the case may be. So, we don't anticipate at this time any slowdown in COVID-19 testing requirements. We don't expect the executive travel orders to change anytime soon. And when I say anytime, I'm not talking 2021, I'm talking years beyond that. But as we look at our business model, it's why we have diverse components. It's why we believe having our clinic model as a big part of our stable rollout in the future, bringing long-term stable revenues and stable cash flow. What we're also doing with Kai Tests and through Kai Laboratory is we're working on our next phase of at-home testing products. So our first product, of course, is our Kai Saliva Test Kit. But we're looking at deploying other valuable testing products, such as women's health or men's health, that can be distributed through our KaiTest.com on a direct-to-consumer basis, can be distributed through a sales force for medical clinics and health centers in the markets that we serve. And the reason that we want to do that is we want to leverage the research and development capability of CHI, and we also want to de-risk the future. I'm certainly aware that the COVID-19 phenomenon that we're in has unknown components to it. How long will this last? Will herd immunity actually show up or not? Some portion of herd immunity, does it change the requirement for testing or will it not? And what will the regulatory framework look like? So anticipating that there are unknowns out there, it is prudent for us to, again, leverage our R&D capabilities to have other new novel products that can be brought to market to, again, de-risk our growth in the future. So that, hey, in the event that the COVID-19 version that we see today starts to dissipate and herd immunity takes over, we have other supportive growth revenue streams on the R&D side, on the science side of our business, that will continue to drive top line growth and EBITDA for the public company.
Okay, and okay, so we get a question, we got a super chat question I have to ask from Tony. What does McKesson mean for Empower or CHI Labs? He wants to know what is McKesson.
Yeah, I mean, so McKesson is a massive public health, we'll call it a healthcare company. I think they're number 7 Fortune 500 on the New York Stock Exchange. At this stage, I don't think it means much to us right now, but we certainly look forward to the opportunity to do more work with a big brand like that. And there are other great big brands that we're talking to, in the US and in Canada. But we're certainly, honored to have, even, kind of a distant association. I don't know where that may go, if anything may come of it in the future, but we're certainly aware of that great brand. And if something comes up that we can do more work with them in the United States or in other markets, then we would be honored to do so.
Okay, so bottom line is, so the clinics, the testing business is going, it's going full steam.
Yes, it is.
With herd immunity, whatever, or I mean, there's always going to be these variants. So this is not a problem that's going to be gone, next week.
No, we don't think so. And the concept of the variants is becoming very interesting. One of the things that I'm so proud of our science team is that they got ahead of determining or making a determination, or what they refer to as validating, that in fact our PCR testing protocols do in fact accurately detect the UK virus and the South African variant, the UK variant and the South African variant. And I think we're going to see potential impact from these variants. They appear to be more pervasive, which is problematic for the healthcare system. And it's likely to contribute to the requirement for continued forms of testing. And so when, again, we talk about these factors that bring us to have a thesis that says this goes well beyond 2021. It's not a short-term blip or a bubble that we're taking advantage of. In fact, I think we're building a business model that is going to be very sustainable for the future and will be very accretive to our plans going forward.
Okay. Okay. This is again. This is a follow-up to the question here, which was asked about this. What I guess he's asking. Andrew is asking, like, what is what's the thing that's going to really move Empower? Is it the clinic side, or is it the testing side? Is it the
yeah? So it's kind of a repeat of what we just kind of went through. So if you look at our healthcare side and you look at our R&D science and testing side, they're both important. They're both valuable. Obviously, we're getting a nice lift and bump right now on the testing side. There's a huge demand coming our way. We have great margin on the testing side, so it's generating a lot of cash in our operations. And so we appreciate that. It's fantastic. There's a long-term stability play with our healthcare centers, and it's why we've stayed true to that aspect. That's a lane that we're very good at. And so to the extent that we don't recognize that or we deviate, that's a misstep on my behalf, on our board's behalf. So we're definitely laser focused on that growth. The question of, hey, does COVID go away at some point because of vaccines or not because of vaccines? Or what's the new variant of COVID-19? Or what's the new version of that in the future? I think we're all realizing that, these are global problems that, we're not as a society able to completely control. We in the healthcare space are positioning ourselves to be part of that journey. We think that we can improve the journey for consumers and patients. We think that we can improve the way healthcare is delivered, the way that care is delivered to patients. We think that we can assist in helping patients take more control over their personal healthcare. And that's why the direct-to-consumer testing type programs are going to continue to be a bigger part of our dialogue going forward. We see, great brands like 23andMe, is a good example, where you can reach consumers directly, provide them methods to learn more about themselves, about their background, that may lead to understanding future health outcomes. So, kind of building off of that idea or concept, this is why we're continuing to invest in the science and the R&D of testing that is beyond COVID testing. Again, to de-risk, to find new growth channels, to reach, millions of consumers, wherever they may be in the markets that we serve.
Okay, so the main thing I think is to understand that Empower is not a it's not a COVID play that
absolutely not.
You happen to be making money with COVID. I mean, this is obviously it's a generator of cash flow and revenues, but 3 years from now, who knows? But really, the main driver is going to be, well, you just mentioned like this some other potential revenue things with the labs, like this 23andMe, like this DNA test, all these like to test for possible.
Well, other forms. There are many forms of at-home testing products or in-clinic testing products that can be delivered direct to consumer. The old paradigm of I have to go to my GP, I have to then go get to a lab to do a requisition. The results go back to the GP, and I have to go back to the GP again to get my results. That's antiquated. So we want to speed up the supply chain of healthcare. We want to deliver technology to improve the outcomes for patients and to improve the information and knowledge that the physicians have when they're treating patients. This concept, as we described, being an integrated healthcare company, is exactly what we're doing. So today we have two sides to it, right? Our clinics, our health centers that we're building out, very stable, accretive business model. And our research and development and science side, particularly focused on medical laboratories and testing, again, on a direct-to-consumer basis, getting to the consumer, giving them more information and knowledge at their fingertips, and really just simplifying the process overall.
Okay, but if you have 300 clinics, right, in North America, U.S., Canada, you have 300 clinics. That's $1 billion in revenues potentially. $2.5 million per, roughly. Some more, some less. So I mean,
it's a lot of revenue. It's a lot of revenue. So those are lofty numbers, but it is not unrealistic to think that we can build out not just dozens, but literally hundreds of locations around North America. The healthcare sector, in my opinion, needs consolidation. It needs that national brand that stands for something. It stands for our patients. It's recognizable. We like our partnership approach, with the concept of pharmacy partners, whether it's other parts of the country or in the United States or other parts of the world for that matter. So we think we have a formula. We think we have a winning formula that works. We're grateful to be growing. We've obviously had tremendous market cap movement over the last 8, 10, 12 weeks. That has generated substantial cash for us, and it just gives us access to capital, as we might need it in the future. It's bringing a lot of awareness. We have a tremendous following. We have a great shareholder base that, I'm honored to work for and on their behalf. And everybody should just realize that, we're all as a team working hard every day. We're figuring out how to work smarter every day as well. But we've got a game plan, and we believe that it's working and it's effective. And we're just darn grateful for everybody's support out there.
Okay, so let's wrap up with just the last couple of questions. Adam, I guess he's asking, okay, so Steve, can you see the question or the comment?
Yeah, I'm just looking at it. Yeah, so Adam's question, is accurate. That's exactly what's happening to us right now. Is we certainly are getting a bump from a revenue and cash standpoint with the testing programs that we're involved in. We're leveraging that for our future. I'm still very careful with the way that we deploy our capital, but we're making decisions. We're making moves. I mean, we're not sitting idle here with the capital. We need to deploy capital to get larger market cap and get access to bigger capital and to bigger markets. So generating cash and using that cash appropriately makes for a business model that is tremendously scalable. So that's what's happening in front of us. I mean, think about the rollout of healthcare centers. If you don't have cash up front to fund tenants improvements, to fund the team, build the brand, do the marketing, you're not going to open healthcare centers. So we're in a position where we can help our partners that we work with because we've got the capital to deploy on their behalf, on behalf of their consumers and on behalf of patients. It just turns out to be very beneficial for us in our business model as well.
Okay. How long does it take to get the clinic cash flow positive once you get it up and running?
Yeah, surprisingly, it doesn't take that long. And it doesn't take long because of the format that we're going with. Again, if you were a new medical doctor and you decided to open a clinic on your own and you signed on to a 5-year lease and you did all your tenants improvements and you don't have a base of patients, it's going to take you some time to get to cash flow positive. In our situation, when we're partnering with real estate partners, we have a built-in base of consumer traffic. We have physicians that join our team who have patients in their portfolio already. We actually get to a cash flow positive model very quickly. So it's not years. It's really a matter of months, and it's why I think the approach for us is intelligent. It's formula based. There's a process to what we're doing, and as long as we don't deviate from our process, then we're going to have steady quarter over quarter launches of clinics that turn into cash flow positive business units.
Okay. Steve, we haven't talked about this, but look, right now the stock, I mean, you have this, great liquid stock price that could be used as currency. Yeah. I mean, literally you could raise right now, you could probably raise $50 million at the drop of a hat, in a bought deal probably, because the stock is so liquid, in this price range. I mean, yeah. Are you planning, are you looking at any like significant acquisitions? Are you looking to raise capital? How are you going to kind of take advantage of where you are right now?
Yeah, I think it's reasonable to expect at some point, we would be looking for a larger transaction. The obvious positive factors are in front of us. One of my big objectives, sort of middle of last year was really defining how to generate liquidity. And this was before, we had stock price movement. But the one thing is certain, if you don't have liquidity, you will not get stock price movement. So figure out liquidity first, and then, we assume that, the price movement will come. And that's certainly what has happened with us, and we're very grateful for it. So what you do as a public company, you leverage that. You leverage the capital market. So, it's reasonable to expect at some point, in the not too distant future, we would have the ability to, bring down, sort of a substantial bought deal that gives us a bit more of a war chest, gives us the ability to make even bigger moves. Again, we've got this objective to move to larger markets. And so we need the balance sheet to be there. We need the market cap to be there. We need the revenues and the strategy to be there. But I think we're really close now. And I'm confident that the path is laid out in front of us. It ultimately comes down to our execution. And it's one of the things that I pride myself the most on is just getting things done.
Okay, so it's amazing now I think about it. Like the stock has moved since you were on the program at a nickel in October. You haven't raised any money since then, really. So usually companies are raising as soon as the stock moves to 50 cents, they would have raised money at 10 cents. So you haven't raised all this time. You haven't.
No, we didn't, and that was strategic. I mean, I had to really understand what the flow of the warrant conversions would look like. We have to be patient. We have to be sort of, vigilant with our decisions. And it really called for patience during this time period because this continued flow of funds from our warrant conversions has been tremendous.
And that's done. Warrants all converted. I mean, that's pretty much done, right?
Pardon me?
The warrants all have been converted by this point, for the most part.
No, not all of them. Not all of them. Okay. There's still some out there as well. I mean, as an example, I haven't converted my warrants. And I have no need to or no desire to at this point in time. And there are other close holders, in the same position. So we continue to see warrants come through. It's certainly the real rapid flow that we saw in December slowed down. We're probably approaching $10 million now has been converted, and we have utilized that cash. We've deployed it for R&D. We've deployed it for expansion. We've deployed it for key hires. We've paid off our debt that we had previously on the balance sheet because we've had that flexibility to do so. So I've wanted to utilize those proceeds to improve the balance sheet for the future. And so all of that will start to be visible, as we get through our year-end audit and put out our financials, sort of in late April. But we have been, I've been careful not to sort of jump the gun and not get over anxious. And it's worked in our favor. Think where we were. We were all excited when we were a 30-cent stock, or we were a 50-cent stock. And if I had have jumped the gun then and gone to market, we're now, we hit 250 for goodness sake. And, probably what's going to happen for us is we'll start to get some consolidation at a different range. And that's kind of the path, right? You get a bump, there's some tailback, but then you consolidate at a certain point, and then you get your next movement. So we're kind of in that, let's get some more consolidation taking place. But, we hit, north of $700 million market cap. I would rather, raise money at that valuation than raise money at $100 million. And so I'm very cognizant of the impact of dilution. And what was prudent for us to do was to be patient and just see where the warrant conversions go. And it's been in our favor. So I'm thankful that we had that patience to see what our market would do.
No, I mean, listen up. Right now, you have, I think, plenty of cash. I mean, but I think investors. I know. Look, a lot of investors are always like paranoid about dilution because look, most companies, as soon as the stock starts moving, Canadian companies for sure, they raise capital. It's just the way it works, right? And usually the capital funds growth, but people kind of freak out when and that kind of slows the stock down a lot of times. But I think I think in your case, the shareholders, investors would forgive you if you raised, capital, even at these levels, like even at $1.50. I think we're probably kind of like building a base here in this $1.50 range. It's very funny. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up the last few questions. I know you got to get back to work. We got
to get back to work.
Okay, we got a Kevin. What can you say about the recent bearish? I guess he's asking, why is the stock price down? This is like the question we had back in, Steve, do you remember the live stream we had back in January? The stock hit 35 cents, and then it was like that day was dropping by 3 cents, and we had like 50 people asking the question, why is the stock not moving up? Why is the stock
Sure.
I said, it just it's the
well, it's capital markets, right? I mean,
now it's 5 times higher. Basically.
Not every day in our market is going to be an up day. We don't control the buying and selling, of course. We operate our business. We certainly communicate with shareholders, and everybody likes seeing stock price go up and be in the green every single day. But it's unrealistic, and so what we look for are the fundamentals. Is how do we consolidate at new price points and stay stable in a range? That's the key long term. So to the extent that we get a pop, that's one thing, but it may trail back. But if we can consolidate in a certain range and stay in that range, then the next movement comes along as we continue to execute, such as we open up new clinics, we get we sign big new bids or contracts on the testing side, or we announce an acquisition that is accretive growth. So those things are coming, but what I look at is that sort of consolidation at a new range, at a new market cap, and then I have patience with that.
I wouldn't be worried about the stock. I mean, my personal opinion is like, this is at 35 cents. I mean, the stock is actually in a pretty good uptrend. Speaking of uptrend, okay, what's going on with DTC eligibility? What's the US?
We're actually in a great shape on that. So we had a very specific amended filing that we had to do on EDGAR for the SEC, and it was part of audit. We had a requirement. We had to go back and amend a prior filing, which is called a 20F document. So those filings have all taken place. So that has allowed us to, we had the DTC work on standby, and we couldn't proceed any further until that particular amended document was filed. That stuff is behind us. The DTC is now moving forward. And so the process really takes, it could be a couple of weeks, now, but, that's an important one for us, something that is actually long overdue. It really opens up the liquidity and that ability for brokerage firms to electronically clear trades for U.S. holders. And obviously we got 10 times the investor base in the United States as we do in Canada. So we are optimistic that punching through the DTC eligibility could really help bring some fresh eyes and fresh trading and new liquidity to the story.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, the stock has gotten to where it is now, really, with hardly any U.S. investors, and because it hasn't been DTC eligible, it's probably there might be right now in the stock, maybe 10% of the base is U.S., where it normally should be 70% by now. So you have this big kind of catalyst with DTC.
Yeah, we think so too. I mean, we have a tremendous shareholder base in our Canadian market. We have very strong following in Europe, particularly in German-speaking countries, so Germany, Austria, and we have other European investors. So that base has brought us here, and it is quite amazing to understand these technical fundamentals that we're not accessing all the full capabilities of the large U.S. base as of yet. So it gives me kind of some quiet optimism about the future of our liquidity. So I'm not worried about liquidity going forward. And we're getting liquidity is tough. A lot of companies struggle with liquidity, and therefore you're going to have ongoing price pressure. We've been able to figure out our liquidity angle and maintain it, and I think we'll continue with that liquidity focus going forward with some of these other technical aspects of running a public company in capital markets.
Okay, Steve, last question. We're going to wrap up, get you back to opening clinics. What, in your opinion, you've answered this question. We always have to end with this one. So, the routine, in your opinion, top 3 reasons why, investors should consider Empower Clinics today.
Hey, we've got a great business model and a great plan that we're executing on. We've made some really great strategic moves. We kind of knew where they were going. I was very careful not to talk much about sort of our transactions that were pending. And so with the business model in hand and a great leadership team that we're building, we now have a substantial market cap. We have a great deal of cash to work with, certainly compared to what we were working with before. And so it's allowing us to make different decisions, make different choices in a different way. And then I think finally, understanding that we are built for a bigger market cannot be underscored at this stage. It wasn't realistic to talk about something like this even a short 6 months ago, but I can tell you it's been in my mind since day one, 2 years ago, that we could, if we build this up correctly, a integrated healthcare company like this absolutely deserves to be uplisted. And I think that path is now really laid out for us. So that gives me great confidence in leading the journey. It gives me great confidence as the largest shareholder that we're on the right path and the right journey going forward.
Okay. Steve, on that note, I want to thank you. Thank everybody for joining our live stream today, and we'll see you on the next one.